places that could be used for, any kind of meeting or conference or something like that. So just pass that on to you, but it's just nice to meet everybody. A couple of folks in here I know already, but not all of you, but we're glad to have you here. I'm anxious to hear some of what you're going to be talking about today. I am going to have to slip out about 11:30 for a few minutes. I was just telling y'all, we got a young man that's going to Clinton School, getting his master's degree, and we have made an arrangement with the school and with this particular student. He is doing a retail business study for the city of Warren. And he's writing his thesis on this, but that's part of what the study is going to be. And this is aimed at helping us try to come up with more retail type businesses that we can locate, existing businesses primarily, that would look at locating in a community this size. As y'all probably know, a lot of different chain type stores, as we would call it, they have criteria on where they'll locate and where they won't, based on population, demographics, all kinds of things. And we want to recruit more as well as help our local folks that are already here. But we want to recruit more, but we also want to know who's the right people to go after. We don't want to waste our time on somebody that's not going to come in here. Just for example, we like every other place, we've had Kentucky Fried Chicken for years. They have changed up their business model, and a lot of these they closed the one we had here. And I think maybe Monticello, same thing happened over there. On the other hand, you've got businesses like Dollar General that have expanded into the rural areas. I think between Warren and Pine Bluff, there may be 8 or 10 of those stores. We got 3 here, 3 in the city limits of Warren, including a new Dollar General Market, one of their new concepts of being, kind of park grocery store and fresh produce, but we still got those 2 smaller stores. A lot of things like that going on, and of course, we're always interested in what funding is available to, help the city. We've got housing needs here, affordable housing needs here, and of course, we are working. You had told us to be quiet and listen. You was about to start. Me and Keith there was just talking about. He asked me what our major, industry is here. I can say it in one word: timber. And y'all probably know all that. Most of you do, but we've got more timber producers than you think we do here. Some of them are smaller businesses. We got Potlatch Deltic. We got AHF Products, makes hardwood flooring. The Maxwell company from over at Monticello has got 2 companies here in Warren, and we're working on some other things. The wood business is changing. They're starting to make different products out of wood besides just two boards or floor. And we were talking about some of that, but I've just given y'all a little picture of the community in case some of you might not be totally aware of it. But we got a lot of good things going here. And I'll say this and I'll sit down and let the program proceed. Again, we're so happy you're here. We're even about to get into solar power business. The city is not for the general community, but for city facilities. There's a program out there with a good bit of federal funding that helps us make it feasible. We're going to build a solar farm, for lack of a better way to put it, that will furnish all of our electricity to city facilities at way less expensive. That's right. And hopefully allow us to do some other things. So we're just happy to be able to learn what I can learn, and it's nice to see you all. Welcome to Warren. And if I can answer any questions, I'll be happy to do so. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mayor. Anyone has any questions that ask Mayor why he's here? Free to do so. No, we're going to move on. Our next program here, opening by Mr. Larry Lofton, our Director of Agriculture Farm Program Division. All right, Mr. Lofton.
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor, for that wonderful welcome and introduction, really. So I'm going to be brief. I would just like to say that I think one of our primary functions, Arkansas Land and Community Development Corporation, is to help promote a connection to USDA, our partners, and letting everyone in the community, the rural and farmers, small business people know what services and programs are available to them and what resource opportunities are available. So I'm going to sit down, let the program proceed so that for your benefits, as I know you have an appointment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lofton. Next, we're gonna have our one USDA Urban and Rural, our Dr. Calvin King, the presidency.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Let me express my appreciation to the mayor for giving us the opportunity to be here and hosting the meeting here for us. Arkansas Land and Community Development Corporation has an extensive background as for program service delivery. It's the, won't say subsidiary, but the creation out of Arkansas Land and Farm Development Corporation. And the program service delivery goes back roughly almost 44 years now, what we've been engaged and involved in. And that's rural community economic development. Both working with farmers, addressing issues as relates to limited resource farmers and minority farmers, the issue of land loss in our rural communities for various reasons. One of the major barriers has been and continue to be air property, particularly with the minority community, as well as others when you start to talk about the socioeconomic, type of environment sometimes that individuals are happen to live in, for various reasons, from that perspective. Also accessing resources from USDA and both the public and private sector as it has to do with both housing, community development, resource opportunities for community facilities. Farm program been a major primary. Now, as I was talking with the mayor, and I'm really enjoying that conversation. I'm telling you, we could have had our own private meeting,
And we can still do that if we need to.
I really appreciate that because I know we want to come back. We're going to need to come back to have hopefully another meeting setting as follow up to this, and that's sort of the process and what we go through. One of the things you'll know that it talks about are the aspects of prosperity communities. Now, prosperity communities has been initiated by USDA Rural Development, which actually engages one USDA. And what they will do, they can look at communities such as Warren, Dumas, Monticello, smaller towns within a certain proximity. And they partner together to look at the ultimate overall resource needs that exist as partners in that local area. And I say that because you can take one USDA and address primarily every resource need there is that exists in our rural areas. Some say you could take USDA rural development and build an entire city, and that's true, based on the diversity of the type of resources they have. And then, of course, we have that as related technology that you gave reference to, and that is really, you're really right on the right track on that, because technology is definitely one of the growing, as I call, areas now, both from a land use perspective, one, and as far as economic development is concerned. So the city's moved from that perspective to deal with solar energy and that and the technology components to that. You're gonna have to understand job, and we're gonna be trouble with that also. So you're talking about both job creation, you're talking about also dealing with supporting your electrical and your utility needs, which gives, an opportunity for the city to use possibly other funding in another way. That's more beneficial to the city, that helps to really stimulate more economic development in the area. That's one. The utilization of a student and someone from the local area, to really look at economic development, growth and needs, and come on, a young person, the next generation, that's definitely on target. Because we really have to look at both how we invest more in our young people and particularly capitalize on our next generation as a major resource for our local area. As we all know, human resource is the most valuable resource we have for our local area. And when you start to look at investing in them and benefiting from them as a resource, that's definitely a major step forward. I'm gonna stop with that because I know I only have so much time. And Ms. Williams, she'll give me that look and say, he's taking his time and someone else's time. The other area, conservation. Conservation is very, very major when we start to talk about production agriculture now. And it's continuing to expand from a diversity perspective and how natural resources are being addressed from a conservation perspective. Both agriculture in a lot more diverse manner. Now we're not just talking about major farming operations, we're talking about urban farming operations and what that represents. And even more diversity that's been created or has been created now, and I can only see more growth from that perspective as well, is where you're dealing with expanding and localizing market opportunities for those what I call micro urban farms. Now, what does that mean? That means you're not necessarily talking about 1,000 acres, 2,000 acres, or 20,000 acres. It may be only an acre or half an acre within the city limits, and you can then establish that as a micro urban farm. And when you have enough producers, or you have certain producers, then they create other type of opportunities in dealing with cooperative development. Now, cooperative development as a business enterprise within itself, then you're producing an added product, raw product for the local community. And it also allows you to use that raw product itself in supplying what could be a local market opportunity. It could be through the food bank and a food pantry. If you have a food pantry here, then those local producers could be suppliers to the food pantry. Now that's a program that's being operated now by the State Department of Agriculture in cooperation with the Department of Human Services, who initiated it on the front end. So that's just an example as you look at micro urban farms, small acreage farms, and then the benefits of natural resource conservation services, those resources and how beneficial they can be for this type of opportunity using the EQIP program, putting in the hoop houses where you have a much longer growing time period for produce in your local area. Again, local food supply being, you're looking at your primary direct access market opportunity, from that standpoint. And that doesn't necessarily mean a food pantry in this local area. It could be in the Warren area, it could be in Pine Bluff area, but that exists right now. So as hopefully this young man look at both the industry growth and business growth perspective, let's not overlook those opportunities that are very local already and capitalize both on the natural resource from the land perspective, as well as the human resource aspect of that. And of course, USDA itself and how they are a very, very, very direct partner to create the really reality of that. That's both, again, conservation services, NRCS, and then you have farm service agency, that's a major player in that. From that standpoint, air property is also another area, and USDA will probably talk some about that as relates to both the resources they offer to address those issues as they exist in a local area from a financing perspective. And air property is something that exists in basically any area that you go through, that you go into. So we'll talk and we'll answer questions, about that. The other area, I touched on it already, when I said ag technology, the mayor's already opened up with that, from the technology perspective. I was talking about the solar farm, that area of technology. And of course, when he was talking about the wood industry, and I asked him that question because I saw a lot of trees on these two main roads as I was coming in, or plenty of trees. I said, okay, that natural resource is very abundant here, very positive, from that standpoint. But looking at now, and what he was discussing is how they're diversifying much more in both the product itself that is being grown and the added value market opportunity that flows more into the more urban areas, particularly start talking about, I guess you really talk about somewhat fireproof wood. Now that sounds, sort of, oh, wait a minute, come on, we're talking about wood, fireproof wood. But, it's amazing, what's occurring in our society now, both from a technology perspective, and when you start to talk about added value, raw products, what is being done, and how it's being done. So to have the leadership and someone that is really on top of this and understanding it, and understanding the natural resource that is here, and the potential growth opportunities into the marketplace from that perspective is a major plus, for one, this up, and I'm not getting campaign speech, let me just say this on front. I've been impressed with the mayor and this short discussion, that we've had here. The other thing from the technology perspective, I want to just touch briefly on solutions itself, again, to address air property. We have a manual that we distribute to those who participate in this own air property, and those who may be participating virtually and want to receive that particular document, then we will make it available to them. One thing is that on air property, the law has changed now. We worked on it for a number of years, but the new law, as it relates to air property, is the Unified Air Property Act. And basically what that means with Unified Air Property Act, what used to be a process with one individual, it could be someone like myself, and I could say buy an individual air interest out. It may be an 8th or 16th, 10th interest, whichever, but I buy that one individual interest out, then I can petition the courts. And once that petition process would occur, then I'm able to, after a period of time, by petitioning the court, it normally ends up going through by court decree an order of sale of that particular land. Now, although the heirs most of the heirs would want to hold on to it, the old law was that it would be sold at public auction, that land could not be divided equally and equitably. Well, now, one may petition the court for the property to be sold, but it has to be first offered back to the other heirs, either as a group or any one individual heir who wants to maintain that property. So that means that they can offer it to them, first point, that they have to offer it to them at the appraised value. Well, that's a major step forward because it deals with retention of family and what sometimes one would call inheritance for family members, an option for them to preserve that heritage and those who want to preserve it as such. And of course, what's offered again by USDA in dealing with that challenge, what has been a challenge over the years is the financing to heirs to purchase the other heirs' interest out. Well, that's the major step forward. If you had talked about that back in the 70s and the 80s or so, they basically said, well, we just don't deal with air property. So that's just progress that has been made over the years, both as relates to the courts as well as relates to USDA itself and being a party investor and addressing these type of issues that exist in our rural, small communities. The other, and I'm going to close this farm certification. I'm not going to talk about that because I know FSA is here and they'll do a much better job on it. So, but the farm certification in two ways. One is establishing yourself as a certified farm. Now, as a certified farmer, that first step process is that, well, in order for you to be certified as a farm, you have to have a farm number. And they can deal with you in that whole process. Now, there are other areas of certification that you can look at as it relates to a farm, particularly if you're raising horticultural crop or vegetable crops. And that certification has to do with USDA itself, with ag marketing services being one, and you can get that certification through the State Department of Agriculture. What does that mean? It basically means that you go through a process on your farm that certifies that you are adhering to good agricultural production practice and good agricultural accounting practices for that farming operation. Now, farmers normally always do that anyway, both as it relates to safety, one, food safety, being that equipment and everything else. And all of those are certain contributing factors that's relevant to farm certification. So again, it's a lot. And this process and what's occurring here and in this setting, not only are we having this meeting here in person today, but this meeting will also be posted to our website, and we have viewers that go on and look and to see what sessions we've had, the locations we've had them in, and what the discussions were all about. And hopefully there are those who are on virtually now as well, those who were not necessarily able to be here. Well, look at what technology does for you now, man.
Right.
You can be here and a lot of other places all at the same time. And we're hopefully in the very near future that we'll be even open beyond that. That we'll be doing both the virtual Zoom process, and then we'll come back and be able to do, hopefully I can call the mayor up and say, Mayor, I want to schedule an interview session with you, and we're going to talk about Warren and this diamond that exists in, I almost said Drew County, but Bradley County, that exists in Bradley County that nobody talks about enough. And so we'll be able to talk about that on our YouTube channel, and again, posting it back out. And the thing is this, basically what I'm saying. We have to do a lot more when we talk about outreach and working with our local communities and working with the farmers and working with addressing those issues that exist and the resources that exist to address those issues. We have to do a lot more, and we realize that. We have to do a lot more in how we get that information out and how we consistently market it back to the public on what the, I won't say needs are, but what the investment opportunities are to create this type of economic development and growth in these rural areas, in our rural area. I'm from the rural area. Live in the country, grew up on a farm, still live on that same farm, maintained a home house. I live next door to it as our family guest house. So again, the cultural heritage means so much. I'm hopeful we'll be able to come back, and the mayor and myself, we can have this discussion further about the housing issue. There are various factors they look at, as you said, the new models that Kentucky Fried Chicken looks at now and how they deal with location of that business industry, that businesses are. And the same thing with Dollar General. The same thing applies when you start to talk about housing and housing development in a local area. There are certain factors and things that the developers look at. We have done housing development, affordable housing development. We have it in Lee County, Phillips County, St. Francis County, Cross County, and where we have actually built affordable housing communities. We have built those in partnerships in creating the teams and being investors and developers ourselves to make housing opportunities available. And of course, again, USDA rural development is here. They heard what you said on affordable housing. Now, I know they don't do the 515 program as I understand it from a state level perspective now, but you can still deal with affordable housing with USDA rural development under the 515 program. So if it's any different from that, then they would speak to it through the national office. So those are things we should look at and be able to address further, even after today's meeting was over with. Again, thank you very much, we're glad to have the opportunity to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. King.
I'm gonna ease out, and thank y'all all again for being here. I look forward to working with you.
Okay,
Some more to visiting with you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you.
Man, let me get you back.
Oh, yes.
All right, next we're gonna have a program, natural resource conservation and the equity and equality opportunities in the Inflation Reduction Act, IRA, and the American Rescue Plan, ARP. In RCS, we have Jacob Hollis to present EQIP, Conservation Stewardship, CSP, and Conservation easement.
Like she said, my name is Jacob Hollis. I am the district conservationist with NRCS in Hamburg. And I'm the acting district conservationist for Bradley and Calhoun County. My previous position, I was here or over Bradley and Calhoun County since 2021, still am. So like I said, I will be here temporarily. They're supposed to be hiring my replacement here soon. And I will be full-time in Hamburg, not over Bradley County anymore within the next little bit. Updates for the Warren office. Previously, we have closed down the Warren office back in 2019, 17, something like that. We have now got a lease agreement with a new building. We're working on renovating that. It will be the old Union Bank building over here by the post office. We should be able to move in that next month after that, something like that. And then we will have a full-time presence here in Warren for NRCS. Moving on, I'll talk a little bit about EQIP. EQIP is a government acronym. We have acronyms for everything. It stands for the Environmental Quality Incentives Program. So basically, the whole point of the program is to provide incentives to agriculture producers to improve the natural resources on their land. The way this program works is you have to be an agriculture producer. You have to get set up with FSA, with the farmer track number, get all your eligibility documentation together. And then you can come and apply with us for the EQIP program. We offer cost share assistance to almost every land use you can think of, whether that be urban ag, cropland, alternative cropland, forestry, pasture, chicken houses, the whole 9 yards. So basically, if you're an agricultural producer, we can help you in some way. But since this is about urban ag, I'll talk a little bit about urban ag. They have since expanded the practices we offer for urban ag quite a bit. A lot of it's new. We now have an urban ag team on our state office level that provide a whole lot of technical assistance to each area. We have a specialist for each area. Right now we have 3 areas in the state: south, northeast, and northwest. There should be a state urban ag director with many urban ag directors for each area. That provide assistance to us on planning these types of things. So I'll talk a little bit about the practices we offer for urban ag. They've expanded, like I said, they've expanded that a lot. Used to, we would only provide basic management assistance for any crop landing, like crop rotation, nutrient management, pest management, reduced till, no till, cover crops, that type of thing. We do offer also high tunnels, and they've expanded to low tunnels as well, which if you don't know what a high tunnel is, it's basically a greenhouse where you have to grow in the dirt. You can't have any raised beds or anything in there. I don't know if you can raise beds. Like I said, they've changed the rules on this a lot. I know on the high tunnels, our specs are on it. It has to be, everything has to be grown in the ground. It's not like a regular greenhouse. You can't start clones in there. You can't start anything in a pot in there. Everything has to be grown in the ground. Same thing with low tunnels. Low tunnels are basically putting a tunnel about this big, yay tall, on one singular row in your garden. That one's new. I think that one can provide a lot more accessibility than say a high tunnel one. High tunnels are very expensive. I don't like recommending high tunnels to people unless they are established and have somewhere to go with their marketed produce, because these things can cost upwards of $18,000 for a 30 by 100 foot area. So, I mean, we're talking a decent sized garden, but not a lot of people can afford to spend $18,000 on this type of thing. We do provide cost share assistance on it, but by the time you buy the hot tunnel and pay somebody to put it up, you may be coming out of pocket $5,000. A lot of people don't want to spend $5,000 on a garden. But I think the low tunnels may be a little more accessible to people who want those types of things. We can provide irrigation assistance with anything like this. Normally with urban ag areas, you're gonna have access to rural water, city water, stuff like that. So normally access to water is not really an issue. We do have to require that the participant has irrigation history on the farm, so you have to basically prove that you have irrigated something on the farm 2 out of the last 5 years. So if you've grown squash plants in your garden for 2 out of the last 5 years, you sprayed a water hose on, that consists of irrigation history. So like I said, we do have to have that for irrigation. We can provide micro drip irrigation for anything within a hot tunnel system or garden system, anything like that. If you are interested in the hot tunnel, we do offer, they've since expanded that, offering rain gutters for the side of the hot tunnels with a collection system on either side of it. It's circulated rainwater that drips off the side of the hot tunnel, stores it, and you can irrigate your crop off of that. Like I said, those are expensive, so I will preface that by saying they are high dollar. So unless you're ready to go or very serious about doing that, I would not recommend you do that. But that is offered for cost share assistance. But like I said, these types of things can go over what we pay. They may not, they may. It's entirely up to where you get it, who you put it up. Everything we do in all of our programs has to be done upfront, and we have to check it in order for us to pay. So everything has to be installed, functioning, and then we can come out, check it, make sure it's up to specifications, and then we can reimburse up to whatever amount that our national averages are set on. We have 2 different cost share rates depending on your eligibility. Normally, our eligibility for anybody who is not historically underserved, it's going to be 60% cost share. These cost share averages are set at a national rate based on national averages. So in Arkansas, some practices, since we're in a lower cost of living state, some of these practices you may make a little money on it because they may cost less to do it than say California. Our other cost share rate would be 90% for historically underserved. Our historically underserved categories are going to be limited resources. One, where if the producer is at or below the poverty line, we have a website you can check on to make sure if you meet those criteria. We have beginning farmer, which is people who have farmed for less than 10 years. We also have social disadvantaged, which we have a list on our applications that will determine whether or not you can determine whether or not you are eligible for that, as well as veterans. They changed our rules on veterans, so if you're not a beginning farmer, or if your discharge date has been passed 10 years ago, then you are not eligible for veteran preferences on the historically underserved status. So basically, if you're a veteran, I have to have a DD 214 that is dated within the last 10 years for you to get that preference. Like I said, normally that's basically the gist of the EQUIP program. Normally, it's hard for me to be able to explain everything that the EQUIP program offers without coming on the farm, talking with the producer, seeing what their needs are, what their land supports. Basically, I can spitball with the producer, we can come up with the best plan ever, but unless I can be on the property and see, yeah, that's gonna work, no, that's not gonna work, it's hard for me to explain this as well. I'll move on to CSP. CSP stands for the Conservation Stewardship Program. That program is geared towards farmers who are already established. and are doing a great job of conserving the natural resources on their farms. This program provides more opportunities for them to step up in said conservation and receive extra assistance for that. I really like, especially for our smaller farmers, they have expanded our CSP program, the minimum payment for CSP contracts operate on a 5-year basis. Each of those 5 years, we offer a minimum payment that you have to meet. Normally, we pay a certain amount, a dollar amount per acre that you put in the program, which these urban farms can be anywhere from 0.1 acres to however many acres you want to call it under. I don't think we have an acre discrimination on urban farms. What was it? Oh, minimum payment. Like I said, they expanded that minimum payment to $4,000. So you will get $4,000, if you get the program, you will get $4,000 per year of being in the program, no matter how many acres you got. So, like I said, this program is geared towards expanding upon existing conservation, so there will be enhancements based on our base practices. So like say, some of these will be offered, let's take cover crop, for example. In EQIP, you may be doing a 1 species cover crop. CSP may require, depending on the history you do, you may be doing a 2 species cover crop, you may be doing a 3 species cover crop, or more. Who knows? It just depends on what you're willing to do, the goals of your farm, what your farm will support. Basically, it's easier for me to sit down with the producer and discuss with them. So if anybody wants to discuss with me afterwards, you're more than welcome to. I can give my card to y'all and we can put this on the publication. Anybody can feel free to contact me anytime. I can walk them through this in a more detailed process that can be more geared towards your specific operation. I think that's the best thing to do, is for me to be able to explain what we offer to the specific purpose needs. And then I think we've got conservation easements on here. Bradley County, we don't really have any opportunities for easements. Normally our easement programs are going to be the wetland reserve easement program. We have any wetland opportunities for Felsenthal, which the part of Felsenthal, it's in Bradley County, is kind of a more upland area anyways. It's wet, but it's not so much of a water fowl habitat, so much so. Calhoun County is more upland area too, so we don't really have any wetland opportunities there. Like I said, we don't handle the WRP program at the county level anymore. That's held by the state office level. So if you like to get in touch with them, if anybody has any wetlands that they might think they will put in that program, you can get in touch with the state office. They can tell you yea or nay. And then I think Lori's going to talk a little bit about the CRP program. So CRP is more of a FSA program. We just provide technical assistance on it. So I'll let her speak on that.
Jason? Jason. I'm sorry. Next. Anyone has any questions, you're free to ask right now. And I see there is none. You don't.
Yeah, I have one question, RCS, they give, so your preference in dealing with the CSP program was for established farmers.
The
Now,
whole point of the program is for that, but Urban Ag has kind of changed the game on that a little bit. So a first time farmer could definitely put it in the CSP program.
okay,
But as far as EQIP normally provides the better cost share assistance for structural practices. I know especially in row crop areas that I work with in Hamburg, if we're doing, let's say, drop pipe to manage irrigation coming or erosion coming off the field to facilitate water getting off the field into a ditch. EQIP, that payment will be, we normally on pipes will go by the diameter inch foot, so that payment may be $3,000 for one pipe. CSP may offer $400 for that structural practice. So CSP is more geared towards management practices like crop rotation, cover crops, nutrient management, pest management, reduced tillage. I haven't really gotten into the weeds on the urban ag side of it to see what the payment rates are on that. But if it's like any of our other programs with EQIP, the structural stuff is going to be a lot lower payment in CSP. So if anybody's interested in high tunnel stuff, I would much rather you sign up for EQIP first. get the most you can out of that program and then graduate on to the CSP program. Because this, if you do an equip contract first, if you get an equip contract first, that contract will be anywhere from 3 to 5 years. So say, if you want to maximize the amount of time you can draw money from our programs, I'd say go through equip first, and then you can apply for CSP, and then once that CSP contract's up, if you get it, you can apply for CSP renewal. So we're talking maybe 15 years worth of assistance that we can provide if you go through the general way of doing this.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, because we put this back out, that even the beginning part of that first year, they still qualify.
Right.
And they can implement those practices relevant to conservation stewardship. Now, and I just want to correct me if I'm wrong on this, even with the conservation stewardship practices, the more practice you have, of course, with the equip, of course, your points that want to increase.
Correct.
And you can do an inclusion of conservation stewardship practices in your equip contract.
Correct. So.
Okay, so I just want to get a little clarity on that, so even that, okay, all right.
Right, so equip operates, we have what's called base practices and
Right.
equip. We have practice codes for all of those. So every equip practice will be considered as a base practice. In CSP, we're supposed to enhance upon those base practices, so basically we're stepping up in every area on this practice. So say you're doing cover crop in your equip contract, let's say we're planting black oats for cover crop. CSP, if you're doing the same cover crop enhancement, they may require you to do 2 species, so you might need a black oat and turnip green, something like that.
Right, okay. I just wanted to make sure that they, even on the first year, just starting up as a micro farmer or a small, I say micro, could be 10 acres or whatever, that the CSP practices, they can participate, you won't call it CSP itself, but under the equal program, you can have a practice and inclusion of those type of practices that are relevant to the CSP, although that's a different contract. And I agree that you roll that out after the end of that 5-year period on the equip.
I will say equip goes a whole lot quicker than CSP. CSP, you're locked in for 5 years. If you were to get an equip contract, you can complete everything first month for all I care. As long as I give you the green light, you're good to go. We've got all our coastal resources, you've got all your eligibility, you've signed your contract, everything's obligated, you got the green light for me, you're ready to go. You can complete everything next week. Your contract may be $50,000. Maybe do all that tomorrow, as long as you got the green light to do it. But I like to spread things out and give you the most time possible in order to complete these things, because a lot of people need time. They have full-time jobs, they do this on the side, that they need a longer time period to get these types of things done. CSP, however, operates on our fiscal year basis.
Right.
Our fiscal year goes from October 1st to September 30th. You do not get paid in CSP until after October 1st. So you have to float that money all the way to the end of the year if we're going to get paid. Equip, you get paid as soon as I come out there and check.
But, and then I'll finish that part of it. Yeah, but particularly for those who are beginning farmers and for the smaller farmers and those who are not really familiar with the program as much so, that the CSP, the conservation stewardship practices, you think it's an enhancement process of practices that you really know that's in the best interest of the farmer anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
But that is an inclusion of the payment itself that may allow you to enhance some of those particular practices. Even in dealing with crop rotation, as well as many other practices, low till, no till, whichever, from that standpoint. Maybe a point where you do an inclusion of that where you may not do as much with the minimum till or no till, because with that, the support to do that, it makes it more affordable, even for the investment into certain type of equipment that puts you in a position, to do that. And of course, low till can be implemented in a lot of different ways, a little different from what the no till is. The low till can be practiced right. Okay, I just want to make sure we have clarity on that as we move forward. I'm sorry.
Anyone else?
Yeah, there's a number of questions. The first one was about the air property manual. I don't have a copy of it on there. They probably go on the website.
Yeah, if there, anyone who's on, those that are on virtually, if you want to receive a copy of the air property manual, you can, one, call our office, our main office at 870-734-1140 and give your name and your address, and we will get that manual out to you. What we will be moving toward, in addition to the manual, and I have not gotten with staff on this as an added phase to it, but I'm going to be looking for them to do a survey, sending a individual the survey first, and we get a survey on the individuals and their families, and when that survey comes back in, then we'll send the manual, out to you. And there's a reason for that. The reason for it, once we have a survey completed by the individuals, the one them getting the air property manual, the second is that we also have a training tool that we submit to individuals that gives them a better idea of the type of resources that's available through USDA and how to access those resources and the benefits of those on the land that may be involved from an air property perspective. So, but we have not started that yet. We will be implementing it, but if you want, for the manual itself, you can call our office 870-734-1140, and we will definitely get the manual out to you. And if you have any questions, additional questions after this meeting that you want to talk with staff about, then you can also give us a call, and we will respond accordingly.
Someone else also, that certain person has, who is the contact for the affordable housing program. They would like to introduce a product manufactured by the Indigenous American disabled veteran. Mr. Richard Novak is an associate of our program.
We're going to speak to affordable housing. Rural Development is going to talk about the affordable housing program. They have a lot. They have a lot, both affordable housing with new construction as well as affordable housing from a renovation perspective. Those individuals that have existing homes that need to be certain repair and renovation done on them. And I'll come back and talk more about other programs, if there are other questions as relates to affordable housing from a community development perspective, as well as from the individual, private sector housing opportunity.
And one more. What's the NRCS? They want to know about, does the Act Now program provide high tunnel or finance with a high tunnel? And is it a part of a cost share?
Yes, it is. So we have a new program called Act Now. I think the only practice offered in Act Now is strictly the high tunnel. So we have a sign up deadline for that program next week, the 22nd. So if anybody's interested in that, we'll need you to get your farm track number set up with FSA and fill out an application with me. And we can move forward with that. Like I said, that deadline is the 22nd of February. That's next Thursday, I believe.
Right.
So yeah, if anybody's interested in that, just let me know. I can provide my contact information later on in the meeting, and we can post that on the website for anybody's on purchase.
Can you explain the benefits they like?
Act Now, so normally our programs operate on a yearly basis. Normally, our application period is open year round. But normally we only look at every year's application once a year. So I still have all of our applications from last year for 2024. Our application deadline last year was December the 8th. So I'm going through now and ranking all of our applications and sending those to the state office to determine whether or not they get funded. But normally we do that once a year. Act Now operates totally different. So basically, you submit an application in June. I probably won't get to it until that winter or the following spring, when I go through and do our yearly reviews on all of our applications. Act Now is different. We're supposed to go ahead and rank those applications as soon as we get them And then the state office will determine whether or not they meet the threshold for that application, and they will fund that contract right now. This is deemed to act now for that reason.
Now, let me make sure, that I hope I'm understanding this correct as well. On Act Now, if the individual come to your office and they put their application in, then that same day that application is supposed to be processed and ready to go out to the state office.
Correct.
Okay, so within that time period,
Right.
it's a fast track,
That's right.
one, a very fast track, totally different from what, the regular application process is.
Totally different pool of money, and like I said, we gotta do it right now. Our normal programs, we operate on a yearly basis, so that means you could be, if you apply now, you won't be considered until next spring.
But is that only for hot tunnels?
No, we offer it for high tunnels, it's offered for a soil health initiative, so for row crop farmers or alternative crop farmers, we offer soil health initiatives for crop rotation, cover crops, no-till, reduced till. I don't think nutrient management may be on there, but I don't think pest management is. And then soil carbon amendments is on there as well. And then we offer another act now for people who have an existing energy audit completed on their poultry farm. For people who do have that energy audit in hand, we can do that act now contract or application for that to provide assistance with whatever that energy audit entails, whether it be attic insulation, new stir fans, LED lights, bunch of different things, whatever that plan determines. Also, if it is needed on poultry farms, if you need a composter or a stacking shed, that can also be included if you have an existing energy audit.
What about forestry conservation also?
We don't have that right now.
It's not on that.
Not under act now, but it is under regular input. So if anybody is a forestry landowner, we do provide lots of conservation assistance for forestry.
Second,
It's, yeah,
Sure.
they might wait to answer, I guess, the end, I guess.
is it with NRCS question?
It's on, seeking a virtual assistant to provide administrative services for up to 4 principals and for projects in Arkansas County in Texas.
On vegetable production?
So I don't know, it says projects include financial literacy, courseware development, affordable, attainable housing and business spaces, and heritage preservation series.
It sounds like already, yeah. That one's coming up, Mark on Google about.
Yes, it's coming out. Okay, thank you, Jacob. Not Jason. Okay. All right, we're gonna have next FSA. And
Me and Ms. Lloyd both work for FSA. I am a small loan manager in Chico County. I cover 5 different counties. Chico, Ashley, Drew, Calhoun, and Bradley counties. We do several different loans, direct loans, which I call all in-house loans, which is micro loans. We cover it from row crop to cattle to vegetable farmers. We don't do much with forestry. We have no, it's got to be producing an ag commodity. Here in Bradley County, we do a lot of poultry houses, and mainly poultry houses and cattle. Those are 2 main products here in Bradley County that we finance anyway, from FSA. Most time with poultry houses, we got what we call direct loans, which is in-house, which comes directly from FSA. We have guarantee loans, which comes through, which is financed to the bank, we just guarantee their loan. And on beginning farmers, we have a guarantee up to 95% on beginning farmers, and anybody that's been farming more than 10 years, 90% is the max. We can adjust that lower if we see fit. We have farm ownership loans, like I say, we do down payment loans, micro loans. We do a lot of micro loans in Bradley County up here, just because of the cattle people. It's a $50,000 max. It's made to be a lot separate application. Well, we used to have 2 different applications for a direct loan and a micro loan, but they came out with a new application trying to condense it down. So now you've got the same application, whether you're gonna go micro loan or a direct loan. To me, I think the micro loan people get cheated because it's more complicated, more information, when it used to be a lot simpler application. But like I say, it's $50,000 max, on a term loan, we go 7 years. And depending on interest rate changes every month, it could be, I think we're at 5.25 now, it could go up or next month. Like on a term loan, we go 7 years, and on a micro loan, FO loan, we go 25 years on that. The max is still 50,000, but you can still do, I believe they changed it, you can do a micro loan FO for 50,000 and still qualify for $50,000 OL. Kind of the same way with direct loans, you can still apply for direct loan FO for 600,000, and does not affect your loan limit on the operating loan up to 500,000. But just keep in mind, all these loans contain different eligibility requirements. FO loans, you know, we got to meet certain criteria for that, same way with direct operating loan. The micro loan was mainly for the beginning farmer. Folks want to get started small, buy a few head of cows, or grow vegetable crop or something like that. Just keep in mind, like on a lot of especially crop like vegetables, you got to be a market. If you're going to grow a truck patch, you got to have some way to, hate to say that you can prove that you can sell this crop. Of course, when I worked in Drew County for the extension service, a guy told me if you can eat it, you can sell it, you know. But we had a lot of truck patches in Drew County at that time, and but like I say, a lot of our poultry producing operations, they're financed through the guarantee loan program because it just takes too much money to finance a poultry operation. You know, you're talking about $2+ million or whatever, with our loan limit only being at 600,000. We just never about can reach that, you know, amount. So, and when you go through the guarantee program, you're really going by the bank's lending criteria. You know, we have nothing to do with what they say that you, the qualifications you have to meet if you go on the guarantee route. That's directly left up to the bank. Only thing we can have any say so over is the interest rate. We can make sure they maintain a reasonable interest rate. They just can't, you know, charge you whatever. I don't think of anything else. Like I say, on the guarantee, on commission, this or not, the maximum limit on it is like 2,236,000 is what you can borrow up to. And combined, you're looking at like a 2,236 on the guaranteed, another 600,000. So yeah, if everything put together, you're looking at about $2.8 million to change. So and we've been going up every year just because all the input costs have been climbing. So we're trying to increase our limits to kind of keep up with the production practices on the other now. I know 5 years ago, I think we were like $1.7 billion, something like that. You know, now we're at 2.2. Because we don't have many, like in the Delta, we don't have many small, what I call small family farms no more. You know, we're probably 2,000 acres plus, you know. I can probably count on one hand the folks that I know of that farm less than 1,000 acres. It just takes so much now to be able to afford the equipment with the equipment prices and everything else, input costs. I mean, you just about got to be farming that much 80 acres or that many acres to kind of keep up and keep yourself afloat. Like I say, there's different eligibility requirements. I just kind of go over some of them. You got to be a family farmer. If you're going to buy the land, you got to be farming yourself. You can't buy it and lease it out. You got to have satisfactory credit history. You have to be a citizen of the United States. Unable to obtain credit elsewhere. We get a lot of phone calls. Watch out interest rates. You know, we're not here to loan money for the cheaper interest rate. We get to have beginning farmers that need help. They can't go to the bank. But we get a lot of phone calls. Well, the bank charging 9 and watch out interest rates. Well, we don't want to give them guys the money that, you know, when somebody come in and needs it, we don't have the money. So we're trying to discourage them now. We're here to help beginning farmers and, you know, folks that need it, not the ones that look for cheaper interest rates. Like I say, no federal judgments, anything like that. No delinquent on federal debts. Most time we see something like that, most time in student loans, you know, kids went to college. I wish they would kind of take that off, you know, because, you know, student debt's about like medical bills. Everybody's got it, you know. I was looking at colleges just last week. I think UAM now, if you go by their guide, live on campus and everything else, it's $28,000 a year. I think tuition was like 8,700 and books like 1,400 for a year. I think when I went, it cost me like 3,000, 20 years ago, so that's how much. But if you stay on campus and all this, you look at 28,000 bucks a year for tuition, months alone, that's all. So, but. The one.
Double or triple that federal.
Yeah. Well, I thought they looked at Jonesboro, he was about the same, really, I figured they should be a lot higher than one son. They will make it completely different, but
I would also say.
they was kind of holding the same, but pretty much, that's in a nutshell. Come see us, like I said, we got 3 offices, we got one in Chico County, Hamburg and Monticello. We have no formal people in them offices, but we do monitor offices to go to when needed, like I was in Hamburg this morning, closing along before I came here. And, we kind of like Jacob here, we get a lot of phone calls until we kind of, a lot of people get a lot of ideas what they want to do. But till we see their farm and how many acres they got, I say like on a cow operation, we kind of go by extension recommendation, on a cow calf, 3 acres per cow. But some people may want to put 4 cows on an acre of land, and we don't want to do that because we want to make sure the cows got enough grass to eat. They, we don't want to run up in the newspaper, like if it's normal, starving cattle financed by the USDA, so we, not saying it's gonna happen, but we kind of, But anyway, that's kind of a nutshell. I don't know if anybody got any questions or whatever. I know I kind of went fast, but.
Okay.
I know you had reference to the livestock and the timber industry. Now, Bradley County, as what my work has been over the years, in certain parts of Bradley County, there's quite a bit of acreage in vegetables, primarily, I think, tomatoes. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah, on that. And I know the NRCS, you also gave reference to knowing that the market opportunity exists in accessing the financing. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but if one has a marketing plan, and as I gave reference to just recently, the vegetable operators, perhaps smaller scale even so, if they have developed the application process and they have access to the food bank market, then that suffices what you're looking for.
We just need some way to say they'll, not say a contract, but do they have the ability to sell their product?
Exactly.
Like our bigger producers, they already, they sell to distribute to grocery stores and stuff like that. I met with a farmer yesterday and his stuff goes straight out of the field into a big truck. And it goes to wherever. He does no local market, no farmers market or anything like that. But the smaller guys, they don't have that capability because they don't grow that crop, If you're gonna grow 2 acres of vegetables, nobody gonna send a big trailer truck to go, how to get it. It's gonna have to go to the local farmers market or something like that.
But this is more of a question. You all do have a food pantry in Warren, am I right?
I do not know about that yet.
There is one here, yes, sir.
There's the food pantry, yes, yeah.
I know we have one in Lake Village.
Right, Lake Village and.
I'm sure we got one right in every town. I would think we'd have one in every town. Yeah.
Durham has one, Durham has one also. And basically, all I'm saying, again, I know there's a need and there will be a need, as the mayor has invited us back, on this, to have a follow-up. And we really want to work with FSA and others of the partner in dealing with identifying all of those smaller producers, or those who want to be producers on that, and the food bank. Because basically what we would do is have the food bank people in, or the Department of Human Service people come in to really thoroughly explain this market and how that supply works. Now, part of that with USDA, as I understand it also, both with NRCS, as well as with FSA, if you are producing and your market is one as which will be a local supply in where food deserts or slight food deserts exist, then that puts them in the priority for finance. Am I correct on that? They won't say a priority for finance, but that's an added plus.
Well, I would say, yeah, no, but we kind of operate like a bank, everything got the cash flow,
No, right,
I misunderstand the question, I guess, or.
No, I think what I'm saying, I mean, I understand the basis and doing underwriting and putting together the business, but we actually do that, ourselves, so security and cash flow, and of course, the income to debt, ratio, we understand that quite well. Yeah. Now, the question I was asking is that, you said that, of course, financing, when you're financing, you have to show access to market. So, in that also, I was in another meeting, and I think it was FSA made the statement that if you're able to show a local market supply.
Oh, yeah.
A local market supply in particular areas where food deserts may exist, you don't have, sufficient number of grocery stores and within a certain radius of that you are trying to fill that void and financing some of those type of operations, showing that type of market access.
Oh, yes, like I say, in Chico County, they've been denied, the county did, or the city of farmers market there, with a air conditioner closed in space with overhang, to go up and sell your crop locally. But yes, sir, that would be correct.
Yeah, I'm giving reference basically to the food pantry, because we're really wanting to hope that we can get a lot more of that going, getting the producers know they have that market, and then two, where they're actually supplying that market. And we'll deal with the process of how it will be supplied from a packaging perspective, the type of produce that'll be grown, and from that standpoint. But that was all.
Yes, and a lot of local grocery store now, they're buying produce from small individual stuff. I know they do there in Lake Village at the Southern grocery store. They're starting to buy a lot of local fresh produce and stuff.
That's it. Any other questions from, all right, next we're gonna, thank you, Jason. Next we're gonna have a board. So,
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. I want to just say that I appreciate the partnership that we have. The more knowledge we have, the more power we have. So I wanted to talk a little bit this morning. I know she's got me down for some things. I'm going to switch it up just a little bit. I'm going to cover all of it, but I want to do it in a way that I think you can understand it a lot better. So before you do any of this, you have to have a farm number. Before we can help you in any way or even participate in any of our programs, you have to have a farm number. So let's walk through that process really, really quickly. And I'm not going to speak a lot on air carving because Dr. King did such a great job on explaining all that. But if you are inheriting land, or if you are an heir, let me just say it that way, you can bring in your documents from the court where you have started the Air Petition Act, gone through that's what I'm trying to say. Bring those documents in, and we can review those and set you up as an operator. If you are inheriting the land directly, or if, like what I'm saying is there is a clear definition of who the owner now is, like if there's a will, or you can bring in your tax assessment records, a deed, anything like that where we can establish ownership. That's what it takes to get a farm number. So what we'd like you to do is call. Let's discuss what you're trying to do first. And then we will set you an appointment to come in and bring that documentation. Because this is what I like to do in my counties. And I have Drew, Bradley, and Calhoun. I am the county executive director for FSA, for those counties. I forgot to say that. And what I have found it to be very helpful is to talk on the phone first. Let's see what you need. What do I need from you? Let me do a little research. That way you don't have to make trips to the office. Let's get it all in that appointment. Bring me those documents. While you're there, there may be a couple other forms that you need to fill out if you're going to participate in an NRCS program or a farm loan program, FSA. On my side, the program side, we're responsible for setting up the eligibility, if you will. There are certain documents that are required. So you may be required to fill those out. So you're gonna need your social security number, your name, your address, things like that. If you're operating in an entity like a corporation or a partnership, then you would need to bring in your SS4 form that has your tax ID number on it. So we can get all of that established. Now, you may not get that farm number that day, because a lot of times it takes some research on our part. We have to go and find the land on our imagery, and then sometimes it already has a farm number, but somebody else's land is involved with that. Because farm ownership is not farm specific, it's tract specific. You can have 10 or 12 owners on one farm, but they'll all have a different tract number. So, you know, a lot of times those documents never were updated from 1985, and we still have the same owner on there, you know. So it takes a little bit of time sometimes to get your farm number established. And a lot of times what my DCs like Jacob will do is they'll get all of that up front as well. So you could just meet with him, he gets all of that, and he brings it to us. It kind of cuts out that middleman process, if you will, and it kind of speeds up the process for you to get your farm number. You're not having to go see him, and then come see me, and then go back to him, and then come back to me. It just kind of helps alleviate all of that burden on the producer. So once we get your farm number established and get your eligibility documents, if you're participating in a program, we won't need eligibility documents if you're just wanting a farm, just to have it, you know. So you've got your farm number, and now you're gonna figure out what you're gonna do. You'll either go see Jacob, he's got your plan together, or you need a loan, or talk to me or any of my program technicians about what you're doing with the land. Urban ag is a big deal. We can establish a farm up to 0.18 of an acre, a tenth of an acre, you know, or less. And that's important, and has been important for a long time, because a lot of the fruit and vegetable people, producers, they don't have a lot of land. And urban ag, there are even some that are grown on rooftops.
That's true.
You know, in the larger cities, of course. In Bradley County, it is a lot of fruits and vegetables, mostly tomatoes. So I wanted to talk for just a second on a program that we have. It's called the Non-Insured Crop Disaster Program. That we have that is available for purchase. It works similar to crop insurance. The only vegetable I can think of that is not insurable through NAP is tomatoes. So you have to get that from a regular crop insurance person, but the NAP coverage at the basic level is 50-55. So what that means is you have a 50% loss, and you will get paid on your yield times 55% of the market price. Okay, well, how do I get a yield? We can use past production records. There's been a lot of misconception I have found over the last, I've been with FSA almost 24 years. So forever, that, well, it's not gonna work because it's just gonna pay me whatever the county average is. That's not true. That's not entirely true. Let me rephrase that. If you have past production, then we can set your yield based on your production. If you don't, then you do get a portion of the county average, but every year that goes by, you bring your production in, we load it. So you're building your yield up so that when you have a loss, it's not, you don't have to lose the county average, you have to lose 50% of your average. So there's been a lot of misconception on that in the past. And it's for fruits, it's for vegetables, anything that you can't get insurance for, basically. The coverage fee is $325 per crop with a max of $825 in any county. And we do also recognize the same historically underserved categories that NRCS does, which would be veteran, beginning farmer, and the socially disadvantaged statuses. And those historically underserved categories do not have to pay an administrative fee to obtain basic NAP coverage. So basically you can have the coverage for $0. NAP also has a buy-up option where you can go up to 65,100, I believe. And there's a big long calculation for that, but I have seen some premiums come in at, $3,000 a year, which it could be worth it. I mean, it could be worth that, absolutely, if you're growing, 50 acres of turnip greens and watermelons and whatever else there could be, that absolutely could be worth that. But I thought that that would be an important program to talk about, especially in I know there's people all over probably on the call, but we are here in Bradley County, so I wanted to be sure and mention the NAP program. There are different deadlines. Don't know most of the vegetables that we have around here, I believe the deadline was March 15th to obtain it for this year. But now you have more knowledge, you know for next year, what you're planting there. Let me see, what else did I want to talk about? Conservation for this area is about the same as what Jacob talked about, his conservation easement. We don't have a lot of CRP in Bradley County. You're not gonna see a lot of conservation reserve program in any county that doesn't have a lot of row crops. And there are no row crops in Bradley County. The reason for that is it has to be planted 4 of the 6 years from 2012 to 2017 to even be eligible for CRP. So it's really not feasible, but I will just, in a nutshell, CRP is a conservation program. There are so many different types. I wouldn't even have time today to tell you about all the different types, but it's from planting trees to a wildlife habitat, butterfly habitats. There's many different things that you can put on your land there. You have to own the land for 12 months or inherit it within the last year. The soil rental rates for this area are very low. They're $30-something an acre, which is not very good. I have been working since I've been in this area to get it raised back up, and the national office is slowly raising it back up. But like I said, it has to be farmed or planted in a commodity for the 6 years from 2012 to 2017. So it's really not viable for this area. NAP, which I just talked about, the non-insured crop disaster program, it is very, very good program. And let's see, it even covers crops grown in a high tunnel. If it's in the ground, it can be covered. You can't grow it in a greenhouse on a table. We can't cover it until it reaches the ground. Let's see, what else was I gonna say? I think that is what I was talking about. It's pretty much in a nutshell there. Are there any questions?
Now, the disaster program, or emergency, that falls on your side when it comes down to disaster payments as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the non-insured crop disaster program, it would cover, say, a freeze, a tornado takes off a lot of your cows. I mean, that's a whole different program. Takes off, takes a tornado comes through and rips through your whole garden there and it's ruined. Or heat, drought, if it's not irrigated, but most vegetables are irrigated. There's lots of different, it's all from natural disaster.
Right, so, I mean, you have the NAP for the non-traditional crop, horticulture crop for the most part. And then you have your, just disaster, and say they have, I'll just say minimum, coverage row crop, I'm speaking of row crop producers. And you all have very little row crop from what you said. So basically in Bradley County, you're talking about now and now buy-up, and not as much so on soybeans and things of that nature. But in any disaster area outside of the NAP, if that was disaster payments coming into play, that comes on the program side too, right?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay.
And we also do have a couple of disaster plans for livestock too that I did not mention. We have one, say if tornado takes off, you have 40 cattle and it takes off 10 of them, that is and that program is free. There's no cost for that. You just have to have a lot of documentation, beginning inventories, pictures, if we can get a veterinary statement, if something, if they died during a freeze and caught a sickness, there are certain sicknesses that are covered. We also have a honeybee program, for disaster assistance, which would be from natural disasters as well.
Pastor.
Pastor, yes, sir. You can get NAP for saving, also, and also for hay. You can get NAP for that too. Yes, sir.
Okay. I have one other question. This is FSA. I don't think this falls on the program side, but I just want to give reference to it. It's on the Inflation Reduction Act and 006. I know that's been out there for a period of time, which has to do more, and I think this may be on the program side and not the finance side. I mean, a combination of. But where you have farms that are economically distressed farms, and they may have not been able to meet, threshold for payouts on debts. Now, that's still, individuals can still take advantage of that program, right? To make sure if they have not been able to benefit from it, they can still get those debt adjustments.
No, sir, they've expired. I think the cash flow assistance expired December 31st.
Okay,
Yes, so they was out last year, but for their, I double checked on extraordinary measure, but another cash flow assistance, it ended December 31st.
okay. So any of those individuals that are still, I know that there was some that were trying to work through it's been other areas that had not been able to benefit from it for whatever reason, they had not been able to benefit of the debt adjustment. So that program with FSA is no longer being implemented.
Yes, sir, it ended December 31st.
Okay. The other question I wanted to ask regarding the, I guess this is probably more on the financing side as well, but it was still, I think you probably answered because of, it was on the debt adjustment and then of course on the other disasters that goes across, from there. Oh, the other areas, 006 and 007. Now, what's really occurring with that now, other than just sort of the deadline? I know the deadline is ended on that. Are they putting, and you all were distributing information at one time under 007 to 007. You got 006, 007, those zeros getting kind of crossed up sometimes. Which basically dealt with the payment for discrimination. Where exactly is that now? Is it sort of just a wait and see?
Oh, wait, see, I think they're still getting processed, from what I gathered. I think the cash flow assistance, they're all, I'm assuming they've all been processed, but they processed them pretty quick, It wasn't just a few days, once a week, they were submitted, approved to the farmer receiving their payments on that. And what that was just addressing if you had a loss and you see you couldn't make your payments or something like that, you just had to fill out the same financial information, 2236 or 2036, I mean, excuse me, 2037, 38, which is the farm business plan and income expense and pretty much just showing what you had for that year and your crops and what you sold and what you got in inventory. And if you could, you can see you don't have a loss, it was a great benefit because you get them term payments paid for you, stuff like that, so.
This is my final question, and this is more in relationship to what I guess it may be with all USDA when we start to talk about payments. The EUI number?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, the EUI number,
Unique entity ID.
the entity.
Unique entity.
Unique entity ID, okay. Are those becoming more mandatory or whether it's more beneficial if you're dealing with applying for certain payments from USDA now that individuals really have those numbers, be it horticulture, crop, or whichever?
Yeah, I don't see on our side, are you talking about the EIN numbers from the IRS, like making an entity or, I don't see.
No,
No, that's not what he's talking
no.
about. It usually comes, NRCS.
Oh, okay.
With UEI number.
This is the old Don.
Don, the
Oh,
old Don.
that's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have the Don's number this week, it's been renamed.
Yeah.
We did with UEI numbers more with entities, with municipalities or nonprofits. That's replacing up there. You used to be their tax lien number, but now it's for
I believe they were established in,
it.
if you do business with the government, you get that number.
Yeah, and we say that because we've had experience with small producers that were program benefits. They were not able to receive those benefits because, and we had to go into work with them to get the number. They had to have the what, EUI?
UEI.
Anyway, one of those numbers.
There was a time where you had to have that Sam's or that,
Yeah.
Sam's, that Sam's.
We discontinued that.
Yeah, but, yeah.
Yeah, the Sam's, I know you still with the entity side on that, and of course you renew that every year, with the Sam's number. But this one it's come up a number of times, with the producers, non-traditional crop producers, vegetable producers, and certain benefits of programs are out there, and they were never able to get it. And we finally figured out the reason they weren't was because they did not have those particular numbers in order to benefit from the program. But that's all I just want to know. See if you all had experience in that, if you all have seen them, if any of the producers that come in and they were having difficulties or challenges getting some of the direct payments of deposits to their accounts.
I have not seen that on the farm program side for FSA because we go by social security number or EIN number, which would be the number for your entity that's given to you by the IRS. I have not even heard of the number you're talking about today, so we don't deal in that number at this time. Not saying that it might not be coming down the pipe, but no, sir, I don't see any different. I mean, there would be.
It's definitely out there. Yeah.
No, I believe you. I just don't
Yeah.
see where it would fit in with what we do because our payments are attributed down to the warm body, so per se,
Right.
social security number. So in order for us to pay someone, you have to have a social security number or you have to have an EIN number, one of those two, for us to distribute a payment to you.
Right, even with the market areas, and the Department of Agriculture, State Department of Agriculture now. On those payments, grant program pay application process, they have to have they have to have the EUI number. So.
You need.
Yeah, but even as individuals, but again, I want to mention it because
Yes.
these are things that I know we're dealing with, because we have to deal with across the board. And we've been working with producers like where they're offering grants now to vegetable producers to get coolers for their farming operation. Okay, now I know that's not with USDA, but we try to connecting, the dots, both from the State Department of Agriculture, the market, opportunity with the State Department of Agriculture, how that works out, the local market and food pantry. And then, of course, the other area, because the funding comes out of USDA to the state, but it goes to the State Department of Agriculture. But with the producers, and even though there's a deadline, which is
The 16th,
the 6th tomorrow. Wow, tomorrow, we late. Which is, and I don't know, it's possible that they will extend it. I guess it will depend upon, if all the funds are utilized and if the demand is still there. But, I'm a firm believer is that if we're dealing with the benefits of this resource to the state of Arkansas, and where we have these producers and where it'll be beneficial for them, that we need to just work together with the State Department of Agriculture and these producers, which you all have in Bradford County, and ag marketing services to possibly access either the national pool, maybe even get additional resources allocated, you know, to the state department itself. So I wanted, and that's why the EUI number, you know, comes in with the State Department of Agriculture. And I was just thinking of that, and this is a grant program. You know, also, it's a program payment, you know, when they get the, just like with NRCS and, you know, the other, government, you know,
It's
payment.
not, it's not administered through FSA or
Yeah,
NRCS,
no,
okay.
no, it's not.
Because I have not heard of it.
No, see, that's the benefit of these meetings.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why partnership is so great, but that's, that is, well, and tomorrow is the deadline. We publish it in our newsletter and we've talked about it, you know, the other we've done we're distributing also through our e-letters, you know, trying to communicate and get the word out. So I guess it will be now, there will be determination, and then whether the demand is as such, hopefully, that where we have these producers, I know that will be beneficial for FSA, because they're showing both more capacity on the farm, those producing vegetables, holding time in the distribution process into the marketplace. So that's sort of what we've done on this. But the EUI number is a requirement in that process. I don't do that work. These guys, they don't want to do
It's transitioning from the federal government, they're transitioning from using that DUNS number to the UEI number, which is an identity.
And I'm gonna to that, because I'm in SAMS.gov, so I have a unique entity identification.
You have yours, okay, great.
But a fix could be because of the division for the agriculture office, most of the corporate extension office. So that Apex office assists individuals with getting the UEI.
Okay.
I mean, I received excellent services from, well, I say Apex, but the Division of Agriculture is in that same building in Little Rock. But they have counselors, that's what they do, is help you get the UEI. They literally put you on a Zoom call and make you click the buttons. They UEI in the show in like less than 24 hours. But that could be a remedy to that. Maybe we need to, so back to Dr. Rhonda Rainey. So we went to that.
I remember.
So Dr. Ray, that's that office that would assist with the UEI. No.
But the nice less than 24, there's certain information you have to have.
Yes,
Yeah.
you have to have your EI and you have to look like an established business.
Yeah.
But their counselors will literally walk you through the system, telling you what to plug in this information, then you'll get an email instantly, cause you have to have a UEI and a cage code number. You don't do DUNS anymore to do
Right.
whatever contracts.
Right.
Okay.
So that could
Thank
be.
And that federal number that Dr. King was referencing had to do with the Resilient Food Infrastructure program in the state of Arkansas. And they would not accept the application without the UEI number.
Which is direct tie back to the financing with FSA and these type of things, which links back to the market, the market access, you know.
Thank you all. This is why we have these. Next week, I have, USDA Rural Development, with Tony James and Michael Montgomery. And they are going to be speaking on housing grant and loan programs, rural small town community grant and loan programs, business grant and loan programs, and energy programs. Okay, I don't know which one I will speak first.
I will, thank you.
Okay, all right, so thank you.
Tom James,
James.
Air Director out of Monticello, Pine Bluff. We cover 14 counties. And one of those counties is Bradford County, which we're in today, here in Warren. We have on our direct program, single family housing program, we call it direct 502 program. The program used to assist individuals and families in determining the eligibility to see whether or not they qualify to build or the type of person in the existing home. Okay. The terms of that particular loan is 33 years. The interest rate to be anywhere from 1% up to 4.5% right now. The interest rate on the loan is 4.5% right now, but chances are, if the individual income falls within very low, chances are the government will subsidize their payment. And that can go from anywhere between that 1% and the 4.5%. Okay? Very low income, we can go out to 38 years. Low income, 33 years. And factors that we take into consideration is the principal interest, tax, and insurance, which is 29% ratio, and the total debt ratio cannot exceed 41%. Okay? This particular program is beneficial for those who are trying to build a home or purchase an existing home. It's a good program. We have done some business here in Warren through this particular program to assist those individuals who or families that were in deplorable conditions, their homes were. So we were able to work them up and determine the eligibility, and they was able to acquire a new home within the last 2 to 3 years. The other program that we have is our 504 loan and grant program. That program is for individuals who own the existing home and desire to do repairs to their homes. Now, the catch is that the individual's income must fall within the very low income limits based upon the number of people in their household. Must be able to show repayment ability to pay back a loan. And the third criteria we look at is the credit worthiness. Hopefully demonstrate a willingness to meet their obligations. The 504 loan is a 1% loan with a 20-year term. The maximum amount is $20,000. Now, sure.
I was thinking that the maximum amount for the loan was 40,000 then.
It is typically is 20,000, but because Bradley County is in this declared disaster area, it goes up to 40,000.
Right, okay,
40,000.
right.
And then on the grant side, whereas it was 10,000, it goes up to 40,675 on the grant side. Because it is a disaster area, the grant has gone up typically from 10 up to 40,675. Now, this was a declared disaster under the federal declared disaster from FY23, which occurred between January and March. It was a winter storm disaster. And Bradley County is one of those counties that is benefiting from this program. The time period of extension that we initially was September 28, 2023. My understanding is going to be carried over into this fiscal year FY24. And we're still processing those applications for those individuals who are seeking to do repairs to their homes. Now that's the loan side. Now on the grant side, in order to apply for the grant, you have to be 62 years of age or older to apply for the grant program. Must not be able to show repayment ability, and it has to be a health or safety issue involving your home. The grant purpose is strictly for removing health and safety issues. No cosmetics. If you're looking at doing cosmetics work, just painting, replacing windows, then that will fall under the 504 loan program.
So you're saying the grant for the 10,000 increased to
40,675.
40,675?
Right. And this is a program that is strictly for those counties that are declared disaster. And Bradley County is one of them.
Do you have any, any other counties that
The
were
other counties
included?
that are included is Calhoun, Cleveland, Dallas, DeShay, Drew, Brent, Jefferson, Lincoln, and Washington. Those are the other counties that are in that declared disaster.
So this is just for clarity purposes, and hoping for the audience. Is that the total grant now in these counties is up to $4,675.
$40,000.
No,
600, I mean, I'm sorry,
$40,000.
I mean, $40,675. So you can get a grant up to $40,675 for renovation, health hazard, things of that nature. That could be everything from wiring and, things. Now, in the loan side, up to $40,000.
They've gone from 40,000 up to 40,000.
Okay, so, yeah, okay, so the loan at a 1% interest rate is up to 40,000
Correct.
now, okay? So that's a total of $80,675, that one could possibly,
It's possible.
yeah, could possibly be eligible for
Right.
after the assessment of, okay.
Right.
Yeah, okay. That's right.
Yes. Yeah. And it could be possible that individuals or families can qualify for both the 504 loan or the grant.
Right.
Yes.
Combined.
Right. Yeah, right. If individuals qualify for both, one is that, and I want to make sure we have clarity on this. On the loan side, 1% interest rate up to 40,000. Is the age criteria the same, 62 years of age? Okay, that's one of
Only
Yeah.
with the grant.
only with the grant. So in this case, if one is 62 years of age or older, they may possibly qualify for the $80,675 if they're at least 62 years of age. If one is not 62 years of age, then you don't have to be 62 to qualify for the loan side of $40,000 at the 1% interest rate.
That's correct.
Okay, all right.
And if we loan 7,500 or more, we have to take a mortgage on the home.
Right. On the loan side,
On the
right,
loan side.
right.
The loan side. Yeah.
Now, this is just again for clarity purposes. One is out there, but if say the lease assessment was for $50,000 and they qualified for the grant side, of course, and the loan side, would they be able to get the full grant first and then additional, say, 10,000 off the loan side on the tail end?
Well, what happens is the income information is put into an underwriting system. The system determines how much loan first that they're gonna be able to qualify.
Okay,
And then it looks at the grant later.
okay. So just the opposite of what I was hoping.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. That's all. Do we have any questions on that phone?
Any questions? Okay. While I'm talking, have the floor, I will talk briefly about the business grants, the loan program, and the energy program. Now, these particular programs are administered by our state office out of Little Rock. And we have a business and industry division that handles that. Business and cooperative programs director is Mr. Tim Smith. His number is area code 501-301-3280. And there's approximately about 17 different programs that they administer through the state office, dealing with the business grants, loan programs. Also, they have the energy programs, programs utilized to renewable energy programs. This program has been utilized by farmers to help offset their costs on the silo bins. We've been able to put in solar panels to offset those costs. So it is a good program. Applications are taken by the state office on those programs. Also, they have other programs, the IRP, Intermediate Renewal Program. They have the REBG, which stands for Rural Business Development Grant Enterprise. And they also have the Rural Business Development Grant Opportunity. Have the VAPG, which stands for Value Added Producer Grants. And they have socially disadvantaged groups grants. And also they have the RCDG, which is Rural Cooperative Development Grants. So these are other programs that falls under the rural business and rural cooperative programs. And there again, like I say, it's handled by the state office out of Little Rock. But we can direct you to the program director, who is Mr. Tim Smith. Right.
Yeah, as Tommy mentioned, we do serve, 14 counties in our area, and the programs that I work in for rural development primarily are more on the commercial side, dealing with water and sewer projects, would be a new construction, repair work, and water lines, water tanks for our rural communities and water associations. But something I would want to highlight with, this discussion, another program called the Community Facilities Program, which what we do with that is funding there can help communities purchase needed or repair needed facilities, in their communities. A lot of times that program is used to purchase new vehicles by the police departments, maybe vehicles by the sheriff or fire rescue vehicles. Could be a new library, could be repair work on City Hall or some community property. But something that I want to point out with kind of a lot of discussions we've been on here is that it can be used also for food pantries and farmers markets. Could be to create a new facility or repair facility. And so in line with the discussions that been going on, if the city of Warren, for example, wanted to put up a new farmers market or repair or improve an existing location, then the community facilities program could come alongside and on a cost share basis, based on the MHI and population, the city of Warren, for example, is eligible for 55% grant assistance for projects. And we have worked with the city before on other projects, whether it was vehicles, for example. And that program has a per project maximum of $50,000. And so that could be eligible for up to $50,000 to assist in creating or improving an outlet source like a farmer's market for these local growers to sell their goods. Those applications are handled through our office. Just contact the area office in Monticello, and we can provide the application documents for that.
So this, I know you mentioned municipalities on the community facilities. Now, nonprofits qualify for that.
And nonprofits,
Yeah.
they may qualify, so depending on there's some criteria on their existence and their longevity as operating as an entity.
Right.
But yes, nonprofits as well.
And health centers, health clinics, if they're nonprofit, yeah, health centers, nonprofit health centers and all, they also qualify for that.
Nonprofit health centers for sure. Also.
Right, okay. That's all.
Setting? Did you have any questions from the? All right. Well, we want to thank USDA for coming. We enjoy it, and I guess and all. Thank you, and we hope you have gotten something out of it. And if you all would leave your card
And so we can put it on our web, we certainly appreciate it. And we would like for you to complete a client intake and our evaluation form, please, complete it and get it back to us. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you. President.
Let me just say, one thing before, my closing point is this. Both to the USDA partners and those who are online. Arkansas Land and Community Development Corporation, we provide technical assistance, to individuals, in accessing, the USDA programs, both with Farm Service Agency, we work with, if you want to be some of the beginning farmer, then we work with individuals and accessing Farm Service Agency financing, NRCS, program services, in a comprehensive, manner. We also assist and work with, accessing the rural development, housing, housing application development, and even aligning, individuals with banks to benefit from the loan guarantee program. If that's the one that may be more beneficial for them versus the direct loan program. And I know that rural development, they mentioned direct loan program for housing, but they also have the loan guarantee program for housing as well. There can be an additional benefit in that if you're going to direct it to your lender, to the extent that I think the income, they can correct me if I'm wrong, the income criteria may be it's a little higher on the guarantee program side versus on the direct loan program side. So there is a process of how USDA works in a partnership manner, particularly on the financing side, both for farm and for housing. And the same thing would apply on the community facilities grant, where there's, say, like they said, 55% financing base. They can do it either way. They can do it as a direct loan for the remaining balance, and then part grant. And of course, you all partner with financing institution as well, right? In providing the grants on the bank side. Well, as a matter of fact, now that I think about it, on the community facility side, if they qualify for the grant side, do you all provide the additional financing on the loan side, or does it have to come from another source?
On community facilities, it can be either one. We do have direct loans through the
So
FIDO program as well.
Okay, so you do 100% part loan and part grant.
Potentially, yes, that's right.
But anyway, Arkansas Land and Community Development Corporation, y'all have any questions of the need for our services in working with any of the resource agencies? Again, you can contact us at our main office, 870-734-1140, or you can contact Ms. Jamie Williams at
870
870
594
594
8025
8025.
or Larry Lawton.
Larry Lofton at
870
870
594
594
8028.
8028. Again, you can contact our office, the Forest City office at 870-594-8025 or 870-594-8028. That's our Forest City office, and then we have an office in the Brinkley area, and that number is 870-734-1140. Larry Lawson, he's our farm program division director, and of course, on the housing and economic development side, working with housing. I've been doing most of the work with housing. I'm shifting some of those responsibilities right now, but we can also do that work through the Forest City office as well. You've enjoyed everyone. I hope this has been, we talked sort of about a roundtable discussion here, and I hope it's been equally as beneficial for you all to get a better understanding of both how we work and the constituents that we're reaching out to in this whole process. You can also get with us, and I will say this from the USDA perspective as well as from our client-based perspective, the constituents in this area. We do offer Zoom services. We offer Zoom services. So if there's a need where there's a client that you all want us to work with, you can contact the office and we can connect everybody together. Both the USDA agency for the walkthrough process, which is the explanation of what they have to have, if it's on an air popular situation, then we can work with them from that perspective on what resources we have to offer. We'll set up and schedule the Zoom and get the link out to the USDA agency and back out to the individuals. And we will work from there. Different location, but it's all like we're in the same room, just as we are here today. Again, we're looking forward to working even more so in the Bradford County area. Thank you.
Thank you.